In terms of on-screen wrestling and storylines, 2007 doesn't leap out as one of WWE's all-time best, does it? I mean, when one of the most memorable parts of the year is Vince McMahon winning the ECW championship, then you know something has gone horribly wrong. However, as the old saying goes, there's more than meets the eye when it comes to this 12-month period. It turns out there were some excellent wrestling matches to be found too, even if you do have to wade through all the boogeyman bouts and Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell's to get there. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best WWE matches of 2007. Join us! Number 10, Edge vs Randy Orton on Raw. In the early months of 2007, Edge and Randy Orton were thick as thieves as members of Team Rated RKO, a devilish heel group who scored a reign as World Tag Team Champs. However, by the time the 30th of April rolled around, their relationship was, shall we say, rocky? This led to a match between the two which opened that episode of Raw, and whilst most TV matches from this time weren't that much to shout about, this one was different. The pair had a great story behind them, plus all the talent in the world and a chemistry that comes with working together for so long. All the pieces were there and they fell beautifully into place. In a tight match that teetered back and forth and had wrestling so fluid it was basically water, the Rated R superstar and the Legend Killer wowed the Nashville crowd. I mean, they probably weren't expecting anything this good to be given away for free. Well, they had to pay for their tickets, but you get my point, right? Edge ended up winning with a spear, but both men had earned their stripes here in a bout that was one of the best between these two storied rivals. Number 9, the Royal Rumble match at Royal Rumble. The 2007 Royal Rumble is like that jacket at the back of your closet. You always forget about it, but when you wear it, you feel great. There's a lot to like about this often overlooked match, like the fact that ECW wrestlers were allowed to compete in a Rumble for the first time ever, which was mainly done so that Kane could murder Sabu with a chokeslam through a table. Big Boys Viscera and the Great Khali got to look strong without embarrassing themselves, which was a rarity for these two, and Rated RKO ran amok during happier times. However, this Rumble was all about the two men who closed it out, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, either of whom would have been a hell of a winner. Instead of the usual few minutes of dodging finishes and then clotheslining somebody out, these icons put on a climactic mini-match that would have stolen the show on any other card. After a fantastically tense exchange, the dead man ducked a sweet chin music and dumped HBK out to become the first man to win the Rumble from the number 30 spot in what was possibly the greatest finale in Rumble history. Number 8, the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 23. For the third edition of Money in the Bank, WWE adopted a more is more approach and increased the number of participants from 6 to 8. CM Punk, Booker T, Mr. Kennedy, Edge, Randy Orton, Finlay, and both Hardy Boys were the lucky bunch who got to play with ladders at WrestleMania 23, if by play you mean smack each other around a lot. This is easily in the conversation of greatest Money in the Bank matches, thanks to its insane volume of memorable spots. Orton took Punk off a ladder with an RKO, Kennedy flattened poor Hornswoggle with a massive Green Bay plunge, and Matt Hardy took Queen Charmel hostage, much to King Booker's royal dismay. In one of the most Jeff Hardy moments ever, the charismatic Enigma ignored the briefcase and instead hit a leg drop on a prone Edge off the top of a gigantic ladder. How either man was able to walk again, let alone wrestle, remains a mystery to medical science. Kennedy got the win to kickstart what should have been his rise to the top, but for numerous reasons that never materialized. Hey, at least he got his WrestleMania moment! Number 7, Triple H vs Randy Orton at No Mercy. The 2007 edition of No Mercy is one of the most confusing pay-per-views in WWE history. John Cena was supposed to defend his WWE Championship against Randy Orton, but after the champ went down with an injury on the go-home edition of Raw, Orton was simply awarded the belt at the start of the night. Then Triple H came down and beat the Viper for the belt in an impromptu match, defended the title against Umaga later in the night, and then got informed that Orton was enacting his rematch clause in the main event. Does anybody else's head hurt? Thankfully, all that nonsense was worth it, as the game and the Apex Predator put on one hell of a show. The last man standing stip allowed the pair to get violent, which is precisely what they did, as Orton took a nasty announce table bump and Trips damn near broke his back following an RKO on an upright chair. Orton finally got the dub after another sickening finisher, ending the night as he'd started it as WWE Champion. Number 6, The Undertaker vs Batista at at Backlash. WrestleMania rematches at the following month's pay-per-view can be a mixed bag, running the gamut from, what, this again, to, yes, more of that please. Those in attendance and watching Backlash 2007 on pay-per-view definitely wanted more of this. After they tore the house down at Mania, keep an eye out for that one, World Heavyweight Champion The Undertaker and Batista went to war again, this time with a tasty last man standing stip attached. WWE loved their last man standing matches in 2007, didn't they? Putting two men the combined size of a skyscraper into this sort of match was always going to yield results, as the Animal and the Phenom crashed into each other like they were two planets colliding. This was an all-out display of power, no subtlety, no technical nous, just two titans fighting to the death, and it was awesome. The only problem with this match is maybe that it ended inconclusively, as neither man could answer the 10 count after Batista hit a spear off the stage. Even so, this was a great spectacle that helped keep this rivalry alive. Although would it really have killed you to book a proper ending WWE? Number 5, John Cena vs Umaga at Royal Rumble. Would you look at that? Another last man standing match. It's almost as if WWE didn't have any other ideas that year. The first and best pay-per-view outing for this stipulation took place at the Royal Rumble and pitted John Cena against his latest monster. This was Umaga, the rampaging Samoan who had recently cost Cena a match against Kevin Federline. That one's not in the list, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Cena playing the babyface in peril was already getting old by this point, but there was something about Umaga's menacing presence that made this match really pop. The defending WWE champion constantly looked like he was at death's door, and that it was only a matter of time before the baddie put him away for good. However, the good guy overcame the odds, what are the odds, and slayed the beast. Cena choked out Umaga with the ring ropes to retain his title, having just put on the performance of a lifetime. He was involved in a higher profile match at WrestleMania, sure, but this was Eddie Fatu's finest hour. Number 4, John Cena vs Shawn Michaels on Raw. The April 23rd, 2007 episode of Monday Night Raw was a night like no other, as this is when a hot and sweaty John Cena and Shawn Michaels went at it for almost 56 minutes. Not like that. Perverts. This unlikely pairing had been a tag team before HBK did the most predictable thing ever and turned on his new Marty Jannetty. This led to the pair squaring off one-on-one in a match that just kept going and going and going and going. It followed a great big match formula, starting slow and gradually escalating until there was a mad dash to the finish, which was compounded by each man desperately trying to bring this mammoth battle to an end. Cena and Michaels knew each other inside and out, again not like that, and it showed as they kept up the flawless chemistry for the best part of an hour. Finally, Michaels flipped out of an AA attempt, hit a sweet chin music, and claimed the pinfall in one of the best matches of the year and one of the greatest bouts in the history of Raw. Number 3, John Cena vs Shawn Michaels vs Randy Orton vs Edge at Backlash. Just 6 days after their epic clash, Cena and Michaels went at it again, this time with two new faces, well, heels, added into the mix. Backlash was main evented by a four-way match for Cena's WWE Championship, pitting the man in jorts against HBK, RKO, and Rated R. Everyone had history with everyone else in this match, and the action more than lived up to the storyline potential. There was so much chemistry on display in this match, it may as well have been booked by Walter White. No matter who was in the ring, their styles meshed expertly, the choreography was stunning, and there was always a sense that anybody could come out on top, even though everybody knew Cena was probably gonna win. Sometimes a great wrestling match is just a bunch of talented wrestlers in a ring together doing wrestling moves. This is the perfect example of that philosophy, although it did have the benefit of months of friction between the four men who had previously feuded over the tag team titles amongst other things. Predictably, Big Match John got the victory, but only because Michaels super kicked him and he fell on Orton. Weird finish? Yes. Excellent match? Abso-ruddy-lutely. Number 2, Batista vs The Undertaker at WrestleMania 23. After winning the Royal Rumble in glorious fashion, The Undertaker could have rested on his laurels and just had an okay match at WrestleMania 23. Is this what happened? Well, no. Instead, Taker came out swinging for his big World Heavyweight title clash against Batista, a battle so big I was half expecting Tom Hanks to appear and start playing the piano with his feet. Instant 5 stars if that happened, by the way. Despite their gargantuan frames, the Animal and the Phenom could both move like ballerinas at this point in their careers, leading to a match that was as athletic as it was apocalyptic. These two living cartoon characters went to all sorts of lengths to leave Ford Field with the strap, including Batista driving Taker through the announce table with a power slam that should have killed the dead man a second time. This was to be the Undertaker's night though, and he sealed the deal with a tombstone to win his first Mania title match in 10 years and extend the streak. Just a giant match in every sense of the word, Taker and Batista could have easily gone on for more than the 15 minutes they were given and almost put on match of the night too. Almost. Number 1. John Cena vs Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. John Cena had yet to have a proper classic as a main eventer until he collided with his then co-tag team champion Shawn Michaels on the grandest stage. In WrestleMania 23's main event, the WWE champion and his so-called friend went to war in a match that meant so much more than just the title. This was Cena's chance to prove he belonged in the upper echelons and the showstopper's opportunity to show that he still had legs as a headliner. Spoiler alert, both of those objectives were achieved. Technical wrestling, ref bumps, blood, finisher kickouts, this match had it all, including a phenomenal sequence that saw 4 or 5 near falls in quick succession. Cena was able to come out on top with an STFU submission, but this one could have easily gone either way. Michaels did a fantastic job in helping the young champion rise to the occasion, but credit has to go to Cena as well, who was more than able to hang with one of the best of all time. Did this stop people booing him? No, but that's us wrestling fans for you, isn't it? Truly a gem of a curtain closer, Cena vs Michaels will go down as a highlight of both men's extraordinary careers.